Are you worried about this crypto dump that we just had? This video is going to be specifically for you. I'm going to explain exactly what happened, and I'm going to explain everything that you need to know about what is happening right now with this correction. Now, we just went to, okay, let me get this straight, $101,516. That's about a 17% drop. Usually typical bull market drops are around 35 to 40%. We had a 55% drop last bull market and we were fine. And then we went up to $69,000 to pass all-time highs. That's what happened last time. Are you worried about this time? Really worried about this time? Okay. If you are an alt, yeah, you're going to get cooked. Why? Because alts are more speculative than Bitcoin. Bitcoin has already solidified itself. Bitcoin has a massive trillions of dollar market cap. You don't have to worry about it going under, all right? It's the most secure network in the history of the world. And it's got a fixed supply, which is only going to cause the price to go up the more currency gets printed by the Federal Reserve. But I digress. Let's go over to what caused this dump. Trump announced additional 100% tariff on China and export controls on any and all critical software. What does this mean? It just means that the central bank that is controlling Trump, okay, like I said, I'm not picking on Trump, all presidents are central bank puppets. I've been saying this from the beginning since I started this channel. My thesis hasn't changed at all. Just look no further than his COVID shot today. Okay, but here's the thing. Whales knew about this. How did whales know that this announcement was going to go up? Well, the Federal Reserve is part of Wall Street, okay? So the Federal Reserve controls the president. Wall Street gets all the benefits. They essentially get all the currency printing, all the insider information they need, and they killed it. Here, check this out. A whale just opened a massive $330 million ETH short. Is the dump coming, this guy says? Yep, and they knew exactly what was going to happen. Also, they bet on Bitcoin and ETH as well. Here's one account they shorted, and they created $35.8 million in unrealized profits. And you know what? This is brilliant. If you were an insider, wouldn't you be doing the same thing? I would. If I had information like that, I'd be shorting the crap out of things, right? But the people that lose their money are the people that are, 99% of traders on crypto Twitter. They lost their butts today. And you can see it on crypto Twitter. They're right once in a while. They have their P&L, their fake P&L losses and gains. But, occasionally they really lose their butts, and you can tell by their attitude with a 17% pullback on Bitcoin. So with that said, today was the top liquidation event in the history of crypto at $9 billion, okay? The second largest liquidation event was February 3rd, 2025 at $2.2 billion. And the third, I'll stop there, March 19th, 2021, $1.2 billion. So this was $9 billion. Now this is from Coinbeer. They mentioned that this is bigger than Luna, bigger than COVID, bigger than FTX. Yes, the numbers for sure, but the price impact? Not at all, man. Not at all. The whole FTX collapse and the Luna collapse, that whole entire bear market brought us down from $69,000 to $15,500. That was rough over quite a long period of time. And the COVID crash, March of 2020, that was rough, guys. We had just gone through an accumulation phase, and I think the price was around $7,500 or $8,000 or something like that. And then it proceeded to spike down to about $3,300. And then we went to $124,000 something dollars after that, which is pretty impressive. So each one of these crashes, and if you bought one of these crashes, would have been a great buying opportunity. Actually, a phenomenal buying opportunity. Actually, you would do better than most people on the planet that run hedge funds if you had simply just bought the dips. So now we also have $1.65 trillion away from the stock market today, but who cares about that? This isn't a stock market channel, it's a crypto channel. but that number is going to go up as well. This is simply shaking weak hands out of the market and liquidity hunting. That's all it is. It's nothing more, nothing less, okay? Also, check out this Bitcoin whale that knew exactly what was going to happen, that Trump was going to have his announcement. Someone just opened a Bitcoin short 30 minutes before Trump's tariff announcement and closed it with an $88 million profit. Now, here's a little story about me. Last year, I went on a Twitter Spaces from Mario Knopfel. I had guys like Scott Melkner on there, Simon Dixon. I think he was wrote one of the first Bitcoin books in 2011 or something like that. And these guys are kind of OGs. They were all worshiping BlackRock and all these other institutions getting involved and really wanting these ETFs to get in, to saturate the crypto space. And I'm the only guy in there going, guys, this is really bad. Why do you trust BlackRock? I mean, they own part of the shares of the Federal Reserve. If you don't know, the private Federal Reserve is private and it's unelected. And so I got muted and that was fine. Whatever. You know what? These people, they get caught up with their numbers and their money that they're making, and they forget about what the whole point of Bitcoin was at the beginning. I mean, the Genesis block showed how irresponsible big banks were, and now they're celebrating these same big banks to get involved to create a boring ETF. And I said, they're going to manipulate the crap out of this space. And I just got laughed at. And now we're seeing the fruits of that. And it'd be great to get it back on and just go, hey, what do you guys have to say for yourself? You guys cheered this on, and now what do you expect? And, a couple of us, there's several of us in this space that were absolutely against these ETFs and couldn't care less, and realized that adoption comes from the prices rising. Every time we have a bull market, that's why you have your friends and family calling you, because they're attracted to higher prices. They're not attracted to ETFs, okay? They're never going to send their friends Bitcoin via ETF. It can't happen, okay? That's real adoption, is when you're sending real Bitcoin to another person without any intermediary. Okay, so with that said, Heidi says, everybody wants a pullback until it arrives. Everybody, I would say 90% of the space right now is freaked out, which is really weird considering that I guess everybody has a brain as a goldfish, because usually our pullbacks are around 30 to 40%, as I've shared before. This guy says, Coin Mamba, this is worse than the COVID dump. I mean, dollar-wise, sure, but I mean, I think this guy was around, actually. Does he forget, the sentiment during the COVID dump? If you weren't around back then, there was a lot of OGs out there that were like, that's it. We're done. We're finished. The world's shutting down. Bitcoin's no longer a safe haven. That's it. We're finished. And what happened after that? It went from $3,300 to $69,000 during the next bull market. And if you had bought during that time, you absolutely cleaned house. So I wrote a really controversial tweet today. I think it's pretty controversial because it's probably going to piss off a lot of people. That's fine. I'm okay with pissing people off in this space because I'm not sponsored by anybody. Okay, so much despair and complaining today. Grow up. If you can't handle a 17% pullback, you're in the wrong place. If you lost money, let it be a lesson. I lost plenty of money when I was learning to invest. You have to learn from your mistakes and move on. You don't get on X and whine. I see so many people whining, complaining, people saying they're going to commit suicide and take their lives and stuff. What are people doing? Just a tiny pullback compared to what we experienced in the past, okay? If your alts got smashed, that's always been a risk. You should know better, and if you didn't know better before yesterday, now you know. Me and many others have seen much worse. I remember when Mt. Gox went bust, that controlled 80% of the supply or available supply of Bitcoin. We didn't have much of crypto Twitter or crypto YouTube back then to hold our hands. And that was true. We kind of had to understand Bitcoin to mentally get through with what was happening at that point, because There were very few like influencers back then. I also wrote, I remember when markets got rugged in 2020, that was much worse than today. Anyone who can remember that day can attest. We literally lost half the Bitcoin market's cap within a day or whatever. And lastly, I wrote, let's talk about FTX, which I thought the reputation of crypto would have been finished for a long time after that. We ended up going global with presidents and central banks buying right afterwards. Stop complaining about this little drop. You sound like a total noob. And I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I'm trying to nail it in your head. Stay out of leverage. I warn everybody all the time here to stay out of leverage. Okay, you may think it's cool to get 5x, 10x leverage. People are losing everything because of this. Okay, you may win once in a while, but 99, I would say 97, 99% of crypto Twitter traders out there, they're fake and they're lying to you on a daily basis with their stupid fake P&Ls, okay? That's the truth here, and you may not like to hear it because you want to get rich quick, but this is not the space to get rich quick. This is a space to make generational wealth over a longer period of time, and that is why I am here. That's why we started learningcrypto.com, so definitely check us out down below. Talk to you guys soon.